What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, Newcastle 2, Tottenham 2. And we didn't lose the game.
Just get Miria to do the opening. Don't you?
What's Miria?
She says, what's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back again with another.
Get her in.
Get her in.
My job's done.
Get her to do the introduction.
Yeah, my job is done. Miria, you got a job here. Got the hot seat waiting right for you. Yeah, look, always stuff to talk about in the glorious world of Tottenham Hotspur. We've got quite a big Tottenham update to bring you. We're going to talk about the game last night as well, as always. But let's start off with the Tottenham update, and where better to start than the legend Son Heung-min, as the club did announce today that Sonny will return to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the first time since leaving the club to bid farewell to the home fans at the Champions League game with Slavia Prague on Tuesday, the 9th of December, which is obviously next Tuesday. I thought it was going to come a bit later in the month. There were rumours that it was going to be the Liverpool game. But yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait for this. It's actually a great way to sell tickets, first and foremost. I think
considering the attendance for Copenhagen, they needed to do something.
Yeah, and I looked on the exchange. I looked on the website this morning for the ticket. I mean, there's just so many tickets available for this game. It's crazy. So that's one way. But no, I think it's going to be a great occasion to see Sonny back in the stadium. And they've also announced, Spurs, that work has now commenced on a street mural for Sonny on Tottenham High Road to be completed by the 9th of December, further celebrating the legacy that Sonny has left in this part of North London. So some great news all round.
That's really great. And he obviously deserves it. We all wanted something, you know, some people saying build a statue, do this and that, but I think a mural was obviously a really great way to commemorate his time at Spurs. Obviously, we have a mural for Ledley King. We have a Kane one. Is that still there? Yeah.
Of course, it's still there.
We have a Kane one. So yeah, I think Sonny deserves his own mural for sure. And I'm really excited to see what it's going to look like. I wonder where on the high road it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait till the 9th of December to go down there and have a look. And obviously we will be there. And like I said, I cannot wait to get down there now and just see Sonny back in front of our eyes, back in the stadium. It's going to be an emotional day for him, for the fans, just to see him there in the mural. Excited to see. Do you think it's going to be his celebration? Is it going to be him lifting the trophy?
There'll be a few things, won't there? I think, hopefully, definitely have to have the trophy there. That has to be there. The celebration has to be. It all has to be there. Maybe him when he first signed as a young man. I think there's so many things you can capture from Sonny's time at Tottenham. I'm really excited to see what they come up with. Obviously, the sceptical side of me in terms of why they chose that specific game, because as you said, there was rumours of other games like Liverpool, but you know, we know Liverpool's probably going to be a packed house regardless of whether Sonny's out or not. So did they choose that specific game on purpose because they know ticket sales are quite low and they know the Copenhagen attendance was about 13,000 under what it should for being a full house, and so they thought, okay, we get him in for this Champions League game and we should have a packed house now.
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe it's just due to Sonny's schedule. Who knows? But it could be a number of different things. But one thing we do know, it is going to boost ticket sales.
That's for sure. We should have a packed house now.
I hope so.
And I wonder so he's going to have a chance to address the crowd. He's going to have a chance to make a speech and have a proper goodbye, which we haven't seen. It's going to be before the game, as you said, so not like a quick halftime thing. So hopefully they do it in good time, and I hope they do something special for him.
But also, I think that another reason why they chose this game is because they looked at the Copenhagen game and look how well we performed that day against a team that we really should be beating. Like, can you imagine he comes out at half-time, we're 2-0 down, and it's just like a bit of a drab affair. Like,
says before the game he's coming out.
I think they're doing before the game and at half-time. I think they're going to do both. That's what the original report said.
Okay, well, that's good as well.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, maybe one will just be a clap in front of the fans, and maybe he'll do a speech at half-time. I don't know. But you can imagine, like, because what the atmosphere's been like at the stadium recently, like at half-time, no one's been like, there's been boos, it's been a negative atmosphere. But at Copenhagen, it was pretty good because we were performing well and we were, you know, playing them off the pitch. So I'm sure they're looking at that as well.
Wouldn't be surprised. Want a positive atmosphere for when Sonny comes home. And maybe Sonny's presence can be the shot in the arm that this team and this fan base needs to get going at home.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get in that dressing room and grab a few people by the scruff of the neck and say, "Come on now, we're Tottenham Hotspur. Let's perform a bit better."
Exactly. Here. Maybe he can give a team talk.
He should do.
Yeah, get him to give the team talk.
Yeah,
get him in the huddle before the game.
100%.
Yeah, get him on the pitch.
Like I said, get him on a one-game loan. Why not? Just get him on the pitch.
Sign a 1-game contract. Well, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Sonny has spoken as well regarding the matter, and he said, "When I announced my difficult decision to leave Spurs in the summer, it was in Korea and I never got the proper chance to say goodbye to the fans at the stadium. Now I'm so happy because I'm going to come back to London on the 9th of December for the Champions League match and be able to tell the Spurs fans in person just how much their support and love over the 10 years have meant to me and my family. It will be emotional, but it is important for me and the club that this happens."
We're going to see Sonny cry again.
Probably,
I
yeah.
don't know if I can take that. I don't know if I can take Son crying more. It broke my heart seeing him cry so much in the summer. But look, I think we all need to just feel something right now. Not feeling anything. We're all so numb to what's going on at Tottenham. So maybe even if it's a bit emotional, I think we all need a bit of that right now.
Yeah, definitely. But, felt something last night with Coutinho Romero, last minute overhead kick to grab us back into the game. But that is the Sonny situation. He is going to be back on the 9th of December, which I cannot wait for. Next up, we're going to talk about Vicario again, because we heard a report last week or the beginning of the week, can't remember exactly when it was, that Inter Milan are there and ready in case Spurs do look to move on Vicario and look for a goalkeeper. Gazzetta dello Sport are kind of jumping on the back of that and saying they're saying that Vicario is considering a move away from Tottenham, with Inter Milan showing some interest in the 29-year-old. Do you reckon there's something to this, or just a bit of kind of lazy journalism because of the report last week and because of what Vicario's going through at this moment in time?
I highly doubt Vicario would be looking for a move himself. I'm pretty sure he's happy at Tottenham. He's part of the leadership group. I think within the club, and I think his teammates, I think they like him. He's a popular member of the dressing room. He's a very vocal member of the dressing room. But then again, maybe what's happened recently has made him rethink things. I highly doubt it's got into his mind that much where he's like, okay, maybe I'm better off somewhere else.
Yeah,
I'll be surprised by that.
Yeah, but if you look at the team that are reportedly interested in, is Inter Milan. They're one of the best teams, if not the best team in Italy.
Yeah, it's fair.
He gets to fight for the Scudetto. He gets to fight for big things in Italy. And, they were Champions League finalists last year.
Yeah, fair. And could it improve his chances to be Italy number one when he's playing in Italy? You get more eyes on you off of the Italian public, Italian media potentially. I'm guessing he'd be open to it. I wouldn't be surprised if we agree a deal. He'll be very open to it. Would he be pushing for a move and looking to move? I don't know. I think he's pretty committed to Tottenham. I think being part of that leadership says that to me. I think he's quite committed to what we do. And obviously he's only been here. What was his third year now? So I don't think he's going to be pushing for a move, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham are open to it, potentially, if Inter are serious about it and we're looking to upgrade. But I don't know what kind of keeper we look at if we do sell Vic. We'd have to draw up a list. I don't know if there's an obvious candidate from within the Premier League who would go for. Maybe you have to look for someone from other leagues a bit outside the box. Yeah.
With the Porto keeper,
Diogo Costa.
Would he be an option?
I guess. Yeah.
Trying to think. I love the Bournemouth keeper, the Brighton keeper.
Verbruggen.
Yeah, I think he's a really good keeper.
I wouldn't be surprised because he's quite good with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, I think he's a top keeper.
I don't know about top keeper. I think he's good.
He's young as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is quite young, to be fair, and he's improving. I don't know. I don't rate him that much as a shot stopper, to be fair. But maybe that's something he can improve.
Yeah. But look, we'll see how this progresses. But I genuinely think if Inter Milan were serious about bringing Vicario, I think he would be very interested in that. Italian as well. I think it'd be a really good move for him. Moving up, you can't really complain about that, can you?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the big story of the day regarding Yan Diomande. Sasha Tavaleri says that Spurs have held advanced talks with Yan Diomande's entourage. Spurs have been monitoring him for several months and have recently intensified talks. However, no club-to-club talks with RB Leipzig have started yet. Florian Plettenberg does say that RB Leipzig will demand a fee of 100 million euros to sign Jan Diomande this summer, as he has no release clause in his contract. Look, 19 years of age. He broke in to, I think, the Leganes squad last season, at the back end of the season, played about 10 games for them. He actually made his debut against Real Madrid. Off the back of that, got a 20 million move to RB Leipzig this season, doing fairly well. I think all his goal contributions are coming like in a stretch of like 3 games or something. But look, he's 19, can play right wing, can play left wing. I think his favourite position is left wing, but all his goal contributions have come off the right this season. To be honest, I don't know too much about him. He's a young player with not that many games behind him, and I'm thinking like 100 million.
He's played 22 games in his career.
Like 100 million for that.
Crazy.
Like, it's crazy. Like,
I doubt. I mean, surely they're not gonna. That's not their actual demand. You know what I mean? They say, oh, that's probably just the price to wall people off. But if teams are serious about him, surely they would accept a lower fee than that. Yeah, I mean, but you're talking about. I mean, all the Twitter tacticos on football Twitter tell me this guy's the next big thing. This guy is a wonder kid. He's incredible one-on-one dribbling. He's really breaking out this season.
How many times have we heard that, though?
Yeah, you can. Every year is a new wonder kid. Not even every year. Every 10 games, there's a new wonder kid. I'm not saying this guy might be special. This guy might be the next big thing. We've obviously invested heavily in that position right now. We're in young players with Tel and Odebear there. This guy's a bit younger than those two and less experienced. So whether he's the answer at left wing for us come January or whatever, I don't know. It's hard to believe he would be. But maybe this guy is something special. Maybe we're getting ahead of the curve here by getting him in early. I don't really know.
That's always the plan with all the young players that we sign, isn't it? But the reality is...
But then again, like, if you're spending that amount of money, you're not exactly getting a cheap deal.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
I can't see Spurs splashing out 100 million euros, which is what, 85 million pounds on a 19-year-old with not that much kind of game behind him. You know, we signed Archie Gray for 40 million, who had a whole season in the Championship, albeit, Jan Diomande's played at a much higher level than that in La Liga and the Bundesliga, but 40 million was seen as like crazy money for a player of that age. And I think, 100 million euros is nuts. It really is nuts. Like, if we're going to sign him, then it's got to be of the ballpark of like literally top 45 million or something like that. Like that's what makes sense to me.
Yeah, unless we really believe this guy is something special, and if we don't get him now, he's going to be worth, he will be worth 100 million, like in a year's time or so, and we're going to be missing out. And maybe if it's 50 million now for a player that could easily be 100 million very soon, maybe it's something worth doing. I don't know him that well, so I can't really say whether I believe that's going to be the case, but. They're the recruitment and scouting department. Obviously, Liverpool reportedly in for him as well. So apparently, there is a lot of people very excited about this kid. A lot of people saying that he could potentially be something special. But at the end of the day, he has only played 22 games in his career. So I don't really understand how you can make sweeping judgments on a player like that with so little evidence. It's so few games. How can you say this guy is? How can you be so certain? He's that special. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Yeah. Look, he has broken into the Ivory Coast team as well, playing 4 games, getting 2 goals off the back of it as well. So he seems to be performing on the international stage as well. Look, the reality is he's had a very good start to his career. Starting La Liga matches and Bundesliga matches, but that price just, like I said before, just seems absolutely wild to me. But anyway, that's Jan Diomande. Let's move on and talk about Antoine Semenyo. As Sky Sports Lyle, we kind of touched on this in the watch-along yesterday, that Spurs are intensifying their interest in Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo ahead of the January transfer window. They want to sign him, but have competition from Liverpool, Man City, potentially other clubs as well. We know he's got that release clause that starts in January for 65 million. If he stays, that goes down in the summer, I believe, to about 60 million or 55 million. Look, we know how much he's improved since joining Bournemouth. He had a good season last year. He's improved on that this year, and that is why he's getting interest from all these clubs like Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham. I would like to sign him. I said yesterday, like, what's the point of signing these players until we fix the tactics that we're doing on the pitch? But regardless what manager's here, you want top caliber players here, and I think Semenyo is that.
Yeah, and I think he adds goals to the front line, which I think that's something we're definitely lacking when you're looking at replacing the goals that we've lost over the last couple of years. I think Semenyo goes some way to adding, at least a double figure kind of winger, which, when you look at our wide options, I know Brennan gets goals, but he's not getting the time on the pitch at the moment. Kudus is our best winger. He's not much of a goal scorer, so we need to add kind of goals from the wide areas, I feel, and Semenyo goes definitely a way to solving that. I also think, obviously, the way Frank wants to play, I do think Semenyo could really suit that because he's very much a very good transitional player, and I think if we're going to get Frank to optimise his way of playing and get it to its peak, we probably need players like Semenyo who could cover large distances with pace, and obviously when he gets near the penalty area can get goals and can get finishes, a bit like in Buemo. So I think for me it's a great signing. The question is can we get him if other teams are in for him? Obviously January there's that 65 million release clause. He's also openly quite an open Arsenal fan. So that's obviously, we've already just been through that with Eze, and obviously Arsenal gazumped us for him. So there's always going to be that fear that if Arsenal ever come calling, if we agree a deal, will he just choose Arsenal? But then again, that they have to be interested first. I do feel like if we're the only option in January and no one's really serious about putting the 65 million up, and we are, then I think he probably would come. Even in January, because I think for a player like Semenyo, he's in good form, but at the end of the day, sometimes in your career you do have to strike while the iron's hot, and he's playing very well now and he's in good form, but a bad second half of the season, all of a sudden the offers will dry up. So sometimes you do have to take it. Obviously he could back himself to carry on this form and maybe go for a bigger move in the summer. But I do think he'd be open to a move if we activate the release clause and there's not many other offers on the table. But is that a realistic scenario? Will Liverpool or Man City stump up that cash in January? I think especially Liverpool, who are definitely looking for a winger right now, and I think his style could definitely suit how they play as well. So I can imagine Liverpool being serious about him, maybe City as well. So whether despite us intensifying, is it realistic?
Yeah, that's the thing.
To be seen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Look, it all depends on who actually comes in for him. I think he's going to end up at Liverpool, to be honest. Unless Arsenal do come in, because you look at Arsenal's left wing options, they've got Trossard there, they've got Martinelli there, both of them going into the last year of their contract. Are they going to look to upgrade that position? I think Semenyo is definitely, probably a key candidate if they are looking to do that. So it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal come in as well for him. So if that's the case, then we may as well just move on right now. So, but if you talk about Antoine Semenyo against Yan Diomande and who you want to sign, I mean, 65, if let's say we can get both players, just for argument's sake, 65 million for Semenyo or 100 million or 85 million, whatever it is, for Yan Diomande, I think it's an absolute no-brainer, isn't it? Like, you go for the player that's already 25, Premier League experience, scored bundles of goals already now in the Premier League. It looks an absolute no-brainer, isn't it?
For me, for sure. And we already have two potential up-and-coming wingers or players who can play on the left anyway. If we're looking for that kind of potential option as well, with Odegaard and Tell, we have players there who could also start to flourish. So for me, Semenyo makes a lot more sense. Rather than you sign Diomande, then all of a sudden you're just choosing between three players who are all kind of building to their potential rather than playing at their peak right now. So that doesn't make as much sense to me.
Yeah. All right, that's Semenyo. Let's move on and talk about that. Conor Gallagher once again. We did speak about him a couple of days ago on a Tottenham update, saying that Atletico, he's only started 3 games for Atletico this season and he could be looking for a route out this January. Fabrizio Romano says that Manchester United, Newcastle, Everton and Spurs are all in the race to sign Atletico Madrid midfielder Conor Gallagher this January. Atletico blocked a loan move from United last summer but are now open to a €30 million permanent deal. Gallagher is keen on the move to boost his England chances ahead of the World Cup. He wasn't a top priority in the last window, but Ruben Amorim's United are expected to lead the charge in January. I think this is a really good market opportunity in January for what we need in that midfield. A bit of bite, knows how to pass, back when he was at Chelsea in his last season, he was playing number 10 for them. But I think, his preferred position is to play a bit further back. I like Conor Gallagher, and I think it's something that Spurs should seriously look at this January.
I think he's like an upgrade on like Sarr. I don't know if he's the midfielder we really need. I think he's an upgrade on what we have, but I don't think he's what's missing, if you know what I mean. I don't think he's the guy who controls games, who has that little bit of patience on the ball, who has the passing range that we're looking for. But he is an upgrade on what we have in terms of a number 8. I think he comes in and improves us. I do think right now, like if you're looking at United, they are desperate for someone like him. I think he's like the perfect player for Man United right now in that number 8 position in the double pivot. So I think there's a natural kind of fit there, but I would take him as an upgrade on the number 8 position. But I still think we need another player alongside him.
Yeah,
so that's the problem.
You need like a deep lying dictator, don't you? That's what we really need at Spurs. But I think Conor Gallagher would be a really good fit as well. If you have that kind of midfield, if you get a 6 in there with Conor Gallagher plus like a Javi or a Bergvall, in there, like Gallagher fighting with Bergvall for that spot, I think would be such unbelievable competition for places, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you've got Sarr there as well. I think that's the kind of player he is. That's who he'd be battling with. He's definitely not 6. So I don't think we desperately need an upgrade like on Bentancur, I feel at the moment. So look, I think I'd go for it if it's available, for sure.
Yeah, 30 million euros for someone of that quality is, that's a really good market opportunity, isn't it? And you know how Spurs love their market opportunities.
Absolutely.
And last but
Levy, we're trying to get the price down.
Yeah, probably. And last but not least, not the most reliable source, Team Talk, saying that Tottenham are interested in both Manchester United midfield targets Carlos Baleba and Adam Wharton. Both Brighton and Crystal Palace are expected to demand fees north of £100 million, making any deal extremely difficult for Spurs. Again, I think Adam Wharton would be absolutely perfect for Spurs.
Yeah, he's the one, because I just think his ability, his passing ability is brilliant. He's a real pace setter, tone setter. So I think he has that bit of bite that you need as a player in that position. So I think he would be mine, potentially number 1 in that position. Obviously, Baleba, we know, has been brilliant for Brighton, but this season he's let the speculation, I think, distract him. Hasn't quite been as good this season. But yeah, if Wharton's possible, I think I'd snatch it with both hands. It's a bit frustrating because we did have the chance to sign him but before Palace did. We didn't take it out. We were heavily linked with him. But obviously Palace got there ahead of him. Now there's talk of 100 million when we could add him for 20 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. Sometimes you make big mistakes, but doesn't mean it's not worth bringing him in now if we can get him.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like he's on for bigger things, but we'll see.
The thing is with Crystal Palace and Adam Wharton, I think with Ollie Glasner coming out like he has done against the board, and they have sold Elise and Eze in recent years and months, I just feel like they're going to do their best to hold on to him to at least till the end of the season, and they're going to drive such a hard bargain to sell him as well. Like, I think he's got such a long contract there. I just can't see a world where we're able to sign Adam Wharton, to be honest, unfortunately.
Definitely not in January, even in the summer though. But to be fair, I don't know if Glasner's going to be there summer.
His contract runs out at the end of the season.
So yeah, I highly doubt that even if they hold on to Wharton, I don't know if he's going to sign one unless the club are really going to back him and show ambition and start to improve on what they have. I think it's difficult for him, so I can see him leaving and getting frustrated in the summer. And I think if you're Palace and you get a bid over 100 million, I think you back yourself to reinvest that. And I think that's what they got to do, to be honest, because that's kind of the model of what Brighton, Bournemouth. Get the money, reinvest it, back your recruitment, and then slowly just keep upgrading and reinforce your squad. And I think, unfortunately, Palace, if they're talking about selling Gueye for how much they were, and they've sold Eze and Elise, and they don't even have that money to reinvest, they could probably do with 100 million and to really get a bit of depth in that squad. Yeah,
it's true. But I mean, he is still so young, and he's got I think he's got such a long contract there. And with Eze gone this season, Guehi could very much go in January, with him going into the last 6 months of his deal, and Liverpool obviously extremely interested in him. Elise went the year before. I just feel like they might dig in their heels a little bit with Adam Wharton and try to keep him for an extra year even.
I do. I agree. That's why they've got over 100 million price tag. But if someone meets that, I think it'd be hard to turn that down.
It's true. Do you see anyone meeting that though?
Don't know.
Maybe. I don't think so.
The only reason I'm sceptical whether they would right now is because of his injury record.
Yeah. Anyway, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have spoken about today. And we are going to go on and talk about the game last night. Newcastle 2, Tottenham 2. Everyone was fearing the absolute worst yesterday. I was hearing score predictions of 5, 6s, even some people saying 7s that we were going to lose by last night. But it was a bit of a snatch and grab draw as it was explained. But Romero pulling us back twice, showing real leadership and captain's ability, like single-handedly clawing us back in that game twice. But
have you ever seen a centre-back just take the game by the scruff of the neck like that before?
No.
Like, I'm gonna be the one to drag you back in the game. Like, I'm gonna be the one to go in the penalty area and get my head on it. I'm gonna be the one to step up. Usually it's an attacking player, but unfortunately our attacking players don't seem to want to do it at the moment.
Yeah, I know. It's just madness. Absolute madness. But massive credit for Cuti Romero, because comes back out of the cold suspension, comes in and did what he did yesterday, and he got his yellow card as well, so he got that. But look, with Romero's performance, I don't even think he was unbelievable yesterday. It was just the goals that really stood him apart from the rest, and obviously he was our best player on the park because of it. But how did you feel about the game yesterday? Because Newcastle away, really hard place to go. Spurs at the best of times struggle there, especially when Eddie Howe has been in the job and they've got all that money and they've been a really hard proposition. Not many teams are going to go there and take points off them this year. I think before this game they were on a 6-game winning streak at St James's Park, and we've gone there and taken a point. So do you feel like, well, this is what I feel like. I feel like if Spurs was showing more this season and we put in that carbon copy of a performance in that at Newcastle, I think Spurs fans would be looking at that game in a much more positive light than we have been.
Say that again. If we've
been doing all right this season and actually like we've been seeing something to get behind, and we put in a carbon copy performance of that Newcastle game and we take a draw from it, I don't think people take too many problems with it.
Right. Yeah, you're probably right, because at the end of the day, it's always a good point going to St James's Park. It's always a tough place to go, and I don't think you can really complain about getting a 2-2 draw there, because we would have taken that before the game. Even, as I said, if you go to the start of the season, you say you're going to get a draw away in Newcastle, you probably say, yeah, that's a good result. You always take that, especially how Eddie Howe has them playing ever since he's taken over. They're so intense. The crowd always get behind them. It's not an easy place to go whatsoever. However, I think there is a couple of caveats. First of all, I don't think Newcastle themselves were at their best. I think they were a bit there for the taking, to be honest. And even with that, they dominated us. They didn't play. Obviously the game changed a lot when Bruno came on. If he would have started the game, would have been different. I think if they would have played Joe Linton, Tonali, Bruno together rather than Lewis Miley in there, I think they would have been even more dominant. I think they obviously started with Barnes and Murphy instead of Elanga and Gordon. I think that quality as well probably was missing from their front forward play. So
Those two players have been better this season, though.
Elanga and I think Elanga and Gordon are better players.
Yeah, you can argue they're better players, but I think who's performed better this season?
Yeah, Gordon's not had the best of seasons.
He scored his first goal of the season last night, and then from the penalty spot.
And Elanga, I guess Murphy and Barnes have probably been better this season, but I think they are better players. Anyway, my point being, I've seen Newcastle play a lot better than that. So I think we did catch them on a bit of an off day, to be honest. And even within that, they still dominated us. They still created chances, and they still should have won the game. We did show fight near the end of the game, and we obviously, to come back from going behind twice, was great, and I didn't see that coming. I thought once we went behind, it was going to be a big struggle for us to get back in that game. And we did have small periods during the game where we were in it and going forward a bit and not creating too many chances, but at least getting in the Newcastle half and getting near their box and swinging some crosses in and asking a few questions. But I think by and large it was still much of the same, and I think that is the frustration for a lot of Tottenham fans. And I don't think you can really. You can take the positives because we drew, and that's great, and we got the point. But in terms of the level of performance, again, another first half we didn't have a shot on target. So that's 4 games in a row. The first half we haven't had a shot on target. So that is an extremely bad and worrying trade, albeit it was 0-0 going into half time.
We didn't have a shot on target, but there were more openings for us in this game than we've seen in other first halves, particularly of late, like that Chelsea game, the Arsenal game, the Fulham game. You know, there were more openings. They had that Bergvall back heel. You had the transitional moment with Brennan Johnson. Like, at least we had more openings.
Yeah, there were little signs of counter-attacks, but still, was it enough to be overly positive about? Probably not. You still want to see more from your team, and I think in general as well, when we're in build-up, still really stodgy, still basically one avenue. Go direct to Kudus and see if we can hold the ball up. That's pretty much our plan at the moment. And it was pretty much 50-50 whether he could hold it up against Lewis Hall on the day. I thought it was a really good battle, actually. I think he was getting the better of him on some occasions, and some occasions Lewis Hall was actually nipping in ahead of him and winning the ball back. So I'm not saying Kudus did badly. I think he did quite well in the tussle, but that was our only plan, just to hoof it to him. And I think for large sections of that game, again, struggling to keep the ball, struggling to impose ourselves on the game, struggling to create chances. So I wouldn't say we played well. I wouldn't say it was like a great performance. I do think we did get a bit lucky to draw. But it's a good point. So I'm not unhappy with the point. But I don't come away with that game thinking, okay, that was a massive step in the right direction, or, okay, I'm really seeing what Frank wants us to do, or anything like that. It's just, maybe it was a bit better than the Arsenal and Chelsea game, so credit for that. But still not much to cling on to. Like, did that performance give me hope? We're going to be a lot better now against Brentford? Not necessarily.
No, but we've gone into one of the hardest away games of the season. That's the reality. That's what this is. And the question marks were raised of the starting lineup, particularly without Mickey van de Ven. And I don't think we were unbelievable. I don't think, I'm not taking a lot from this game being like, this is it and we're turning a corner now. But I was nowhere near as unhappy on the performance than I was in previous weeks. And a lot of teams are going to go to Newcastle and struggle this year, whether they're on good form, whether they're on bad form, whether they're a good team, a bad team. Like, this is just what happens at St James's Park. They're a very, very good home side. And yeah, I take your point that they weren't on top form yesterday, but regardless, they're always a really tough team to beat at St James's Park. So at some point, particularly with the way we've been, you just got to take what you're given, really, at a stadium like that. And we fought back and we got a point, and we created more chances than we have done against the likes, particularly in the first halves anyway, with the likes of Fulham's and Arsenal's and Chelsea's. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not looking at this as perform. It all comes down to what we do against Brentford at the end of the day. And if we perform like that, like we did against Newcastle, against Brentford, then it won't be good enough. Because it's away to Newcastle, I'm all right with it, to be honest.
I'm fine with it as well, but in this specific game, that's fine. But it does. I think it does. It's a continuance of the general trend of our performances, in my opinion. At the end of the day, we didn't win. It's a good point. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't win. So it continues that run of form. I think it's 2 wins in 14 or 3 wins in 14 in all competitions. So we're definitely struggling to get results. Which is, look, I get that you're going to go through tough periods when you're in a new job. I take that point. I'm not expecting it to all go swimmingly. So I'm not looking at the results necessarily, but it is a continuation of some really worrying form there. But it's just the performances are still not good, and I don't think it was great yesterday. I don't think I'm looking at performance like I'm not really proud of the performance, to be honest, as much as it was. I'm maybe could be proud of the result, and it's a good result, but in terms of performance, I didn't come away with thinking I'm really proud of the team. Like, it was just poor again, to be honest.
When's the last time you've been proud of a performance at St James's Park?
Okay, but that doesn't matter. Doesn't mean I should be happy not to be proud of another one.
But like, for me, I
was more proud when we lost last season, to be honest. We played a lot better.
But but we took more from the game this time. And that's like at Newcastle, you got to hang in the game sometimes. That's just the way it is, and that's what we did. And I thought Kevin Danso played really well. Romero, I thought, he had a bit of a dodgy opening period of the game, but he grew into the game. And I thought our two centre-backs were pretty good. There were some poor performances out there. Bentancur, I thought, really struggled out there. Sarr not really impacting games much at all at this moment in time. But Lucas Bergvall was a real shining light in the game. I felt I felt in the first 25 minutes like we was just struggling to get out our own half, like massively. And then something just changed in that first half with about, the last 15, 20 minutes or so. And Lucas Bergvall was the real driving force of that. And, he is just proving to Thomas Frank and to everyone time and time again that he's got to be starting. He seems like one of the only ones that are in that midfield that are able to drive the team forward. And what a player we have in our hands with Lucas Bergvall. And it's just a shame that the other midfielders are not really performing anywhere close to the standard and anywhere close to the level that Lucas Bergvall is showing at this moment in time.
Yeah, he seems to be taking responsibility, doesn't he? And we've seen that not just on the field but off the field. With some of the stuff, well, I guess it's still on the field, but in terms of some of the stuff you can see on the pitch when the whistle blows and he's talking to the players, he's the one telling Porro to clap the fans, he's orchestrating huddles in the middle of the pitch and having words with the players as well. So we've seen that those leadership skills and ability, maybe a future captain potentially, you could say, a kind of a skill set with him. And
if we can hold on to him.
If we can hold on to him, that's for sure. And on the pitch, you give him the ball and he's taking responsibility to drive, and I think he's doing some really good stuff with his passing ability. He set up a really good chance for Johnson, who should have done better with his moment. He obviously had that back heel which went over the bar. There was a really great moment as well, which he picked up the ball, I think, on the halfway line and just drove through the heart of that Newcastle midfield. He was the only one who had the confidence to do that throughout the whole game. Unfortunately, didn't really come to anything, but that was a really great moment from him. There was also another great moment in the second half where it looked like the ball was going out of play and everyone had given up on it. All the Tottenham players had given up on it, and he somehow managed to get the ball across the face of goal. And if one other Tottenham player just believed he could keep it in and gambled, could have had a tap in, and didn't happen. So I think he was definitely a shining light on the pitch. And yeah, I think he has to be starting every game. But yeah, I want to see him in a double pivot. I want to see him a bit deeper because I think that's where he does his best work. I think that's where he looks his best and where he's got space in front of him to drive into. Because I feel like when he picks the ball up in the final third, I think he can be good, but I feel like he loves to drive forward and drive into that space. And I think there's no space when he's picking up the ball just outside the box. And I think it's very different to someone like Xavi, who likes to play in those tight spaces and likes to play a little give and goes and find that little bit of magic on the edge of the box. I think Bergvall right now, I think he likes to drive into space and likes to use his physicality in that way. He's a great ball carrier, but we're not giving him that space to do it, so playing him always far forward. So I'd like to see him play a bit deeper, to be honest. And that's where I think last season he did his best work in a double pivot.
Completely agree. Look, we got to talk about that penalty, man, because the more and more I see it, the more angry I get, because it was such a pivotal moment in the game. Like, Spurs had just equalised, I think, 10 minutes before or whatever it was. And it looked like, we could have gone on and got another goal. We were actually, growing ourselves into the game more at that point. And just at the wrong time, the referee decides to drop a massive clanger. Like, it's not the first time I've seen decisions like that given at St James's Park, and it's probably not the last time. But I just don't get how he's given a penalty there. Like, it's ridiculous. If anything, it's a foul on Bentancur, in my opinion. You got this beast of a guy in Dan Burns, 6-foot monster, kind of leaning all over him. They've both got their hands over each other, and kind of Bentancur goes down and Dan Burn goes down, and VAR instruct him to go look at the monitor. I'm just like saying, come on, just get on with the game, man. Like, it wasn't a penalty. It was a disgrace of a decision.
I was bemused. When the replay gets shown, what they're checking, and okay, they're going to play on. That's not a penalty. Like, it's 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. You see that in every single game and every single corner. There's players tussling, there's players pulling each other, all this kind of stuff. So to penalise Bentancur specifically in that moment, I think is a disgrace. I can kind of half accept it if the referee had made the decision judged on what he saw on the pitch. Look, if the referee gives it, Like, I don't, obviously he's not one of those ones that's going to get overturned the other way. I can understand that. I think there was some pulling from Bentancur. I accept that, and he did kind of bring him down. But as you say, Burn had him in a headlock as well. Burn had his arms on him. So to say like Bentancur was the one who caused the main offence in that instance rather than 6-1 and half dozen the others is a disgrace. And I think it's even more of a disgrace that it was VAR who gave that decision when they had no right getting involved there. There was no need for them to tell the referee to go to the screen and check this. There's absolutely nothing. You could have just played on. No one would have said anything. No one would have complained. It wouldn't have been some big controversial moment where Newcastle feel aggrieved that they should have had a penalty. Everyone would have just accepted it and moved on. So this is what people have an issue with VAR, because they're getting involved there, yet they'll see an identical incident or they'll see another incident just like that, and they won't get involved and they'll let it slide. Like, there's no need for VAR to stick their nose in that situation. They're sticking their nose in when it's not wanted. Like, mind your business sometimes, and they had no business getting involved there.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace, really, because they're not doing that for other situations. They're not giving 3 penalties a game. So why that instance they're deciding we're going to give a penalty and all the other ones they're ignoring? And there's going to be we're going to have. I'm telling you, we'll have situations this season where that happens and the referee doesn't look at it and the VAR ignores it. And we're going to get frustrated, and rightly so. But the right thing to do is to ignore it in that situation. There's nothing to suggest that the referee has made a clear and obvious error. The referee was probably right to say, look, 6-1, half dozen the other, play on. So I'm just really pissed off and annoyed. And especially, as you say, it was such a crucial time. We probably had a bit of momentum at that point. Getting the equaliser, had 10 minutes to go at that point. Could have we just made some subs, had some fresh energy, could have gone on to maybe even snatch a winner if that happens, and it just took the wind out of our sails a bit. Obviously, we did go on to grab the equaliser, but I just felt like we were starting to gain some momentum, got that equaliser, and then that happens. It just throws everything out the window. It's so frustrating.
And the worst thing about it is, like, they instruct the ref to go over to the monitor, right? What I know in pretty much 9 out of 10 of these situations, or even more, the ref always goes with we
had one actually on the weekend where he rejected it.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen often, is what I'm saying.
Very
like, it's very rare that happens. Like, referees should have more about them to look at what's happening on the screen and to actually make an objective decision on what it is, and not just go with what VAR is saying every time. And if VAR is telling them he's made a mistake, or he thinks he could have made a mistake, you look at that and you make the right call. You can't look at that 5 times and say that's a penalty. I just don't get it.
I understand the argument to say it is a penalty, because I do think he does drag him down. So when he looks at it, like when he looks at the replay and he sees Bentancur dragging him down, and then he's got someone in his ear saying, you've made a mistake, it's a penalty, like, you've got to bring this back. It's hard to go against that. My point is VAR should never have sent him to the screen, but I agree with you. I think referees should, if they're very confident in their decision, they should stick to it. But unfortunately, they're not. These referees, they are beholden to what they're being told in their ear from some people in Stockley Park. And when they're being told, look, you've made a mistake, it's hard, and you're seeing something on the screen, if they reject that, and it's the wrong decision to reject it, it will make the situation even worse. So that's why they're always going to go with what the VAR is saying, and it's frustrating. And I would love to have seen them reject it, but I remember we had that actually. Remember, it was during COVID. I think we scored a goal against Brighton. No, sorry, we conceded a goal against Brighton, and Højbjerg was fouled, and VAR sent him to the monitor to overturn it, and he rejected it, even though that was a clear foul. So it's happened before against us, but we never got one for us.
No, and it was never going to happen at St James's Park. I was just so bemused that he was asked to go to the monitor. I just think it's nuts, crazy talk. But anyway,
it's a horrible precedent if that's what they're going to give as a penalty.
Yeah, look, everyone is coming out and calling this a disgrace. Thomas Frank even spoke about it in his post-match press conference, saying it wasn't a penalty. He said he spoke to some Newcastle people. They all thought it wasn't penalties. You saw no protests from Newcastle players as well. So I don't think they were too worried about the situation being a penalty or anything like that. You've seen Rio Ferdinand and various different pundits all come out, call this decision an absolute disgrace. So Spurs have been hard done by in here massively.
And we had it, what was it, also during COVID time on with that Eric Dyer handball. That was against Newcastle, a VAR decision. And they actually ended up changing the handball rule after that specific instance. So will this coin another rule change? Who
Probably.
knows?
It's only when Tottenham get hard done by they start to change the rule afterwards.
Exactly. After we get screwed over, always.
So that's that. But look, like I said, amazing fighting spirit from particularly Cuti Romero to swing the game, well, not in our favour, but to get us on level terms. And that overhead kick right at the death, I mean, he mishits it. It bobbles in slow motion all the way into the back of the net. And it's just like, what? I don't even know how that went in.
They asked him after the game, you know, what made you do that? And he says, you know, I train out of Messi, and you know, when you're training every day with Messi, you score these unbelievable goals. I'm like, okay, let's not go that far. Cuti, you shinned it. It bubbled into the net. Yes, it was an overhead kick, but we didn't exactly get great connection. But it was
the Messi effect, man. What are you talking about?
Just to try it, I guess. I don't know if you can call that goal Leo Messi quite. But it was look, he did very well to get any connection.
It was a defender's overhead kick.
Defender's overhead kick. And it's our third overhead kick we've scored this season.
So who else?
Richarlison scored one.
Richarlison, you go.
And then Paulinho scored one against Doncaster.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
And now Romero scored an overhead kick.
So out of those 3 overhead kicks, like two of them have come from such unlikely candidates, hasn't it?
Paulinho and Romero. Who would have thought? But to do that in the last minute as well, to grab a draw. And then he did the Bruno celebration in front of the Newcastle fans. Brilliant moment for him.
And he's going like that as well to the crowd, isn't he? 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Roy of the Rovers stuff from Cuti Romero, brilliant, and did his first Sky Sports interview in English as well. Had the confidence after that to, you know, he probably felt like he could take on the world. I'm going to speak English in the interview today. Fantastic. So happy for him. And look, he's been obviously saying we need to stick together. There's a lot of captains chat from him. With all the rumours obviously flying around about some discontent in the dressing room potentially, with some players growing frustrated with Frank and some other things. I guess Romero's trying to project a unified approach and unified squad. And as captain, obviously, he's got to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you make out of the subs in the game from Thomas Frank? I thought they were a bit questionable because I thought 2 players, particularly Lucas Bergvall, was instrumental to us. You know, in the second half as well. And Randall Kolo Muani, I thought, you know, he just went on that mazy little run. It looked like he's a player that could really hurt Newcastle. And he takes them both off straight after Guimarães' goal, or like 5 minutes after.
Yeah, for me, Muani should definitely stay. And I think he literally just proved just before he went off that he still had some energy in his legs. So don't get that. I think Bergvall, clearly, I think he's always taken him off at that point, and maybe he can't at the moment. Can't play 90 minutes. I don't know why. He has started the last few games, so maybe he feels like he's playing a lot and he needed to take him off. But I agree, he was also playing really well, so a bit frustrating there. But for me, Kolo, there was proof on the pitch. I guess it's hard because, you know, he'd already got the sub ready, and then he went on that amazing run while he stripped off. So maybe he felt like he was tiring, but he had just proven in that run he still had some legs in him. So to take him off at that moment was very frustrating because I think he still had the ability to hurt Newcastle and he still had something to give. And obviously Rishi came on and was just rolling around for the last 10 minutes. That was also frustrating. Obviously, I thought actually, you know, he brought Tell on for Johnson as well. I thought Tell actually looked all right when he came on. I was quite content with how Tell was performing.
It was decent. He had that kind of one moment, didn't he, where he'd like chased down a lost cause where it looked like it was going out for a goal kick. He kept it on and bought a corner.
I thought he was actually Tell, Xavi, the doggy. Once that dynamic was there, it looked quite good on the left-hand side, I felt, for the few minutes. I'm not saying did anything amazing, it just looked a bit cleaner, I felt, and there was a bit of link play between those three. So I liked that, and obviously he took the corner for the equaliser. But I thought that was right. Who came on for Bergvall?
Bergvall, Simmons.
So Simmons came on. Yeah, he came on. He had a couple of nice touches, I guess.
There was that one ball into a doggy.
That was good.
That was like the highlight moment.
Yeah. Didn't get involved enough, I guess you would say. And Richarlison, I think the main one was taking Moani off at that point, I guess, for me.
I'm getting really frustrated with the way Thomas Frank is managing Xavi Simons now, to be honest. Like, it's so clear this guy needs to climatize to the Premier League. Thomas Frank keeps saying it, but that's 4 games in a row now, starting on the bench. Like, come on. Start him in some more games. Like, how's he ever going to acclimatise if he's just sitting on the bench? It makes no sense to me.
Agreed. He needs the game time on the pitch. You need to trust him more. And it's not like we're creating loads of chances without him. We're not really doing better without him. So if we're going to be losing games or not winning games, you might as well give him that opportunity to adjust and acclimatise, rather than just wasting these minutes at the moment.
And you know what? Like, we've got Brentford, then we've got Slavia Prague, right? Let's say he's on the bench for Brentford, then starts Slavia Prague and has a really good game. It's like we learn nothing if he starts Slavia Prague and has a good game, because he started against Copenhagen and had a good game. Like, these Champions League games against like some of the worst teams in the Champions League, we know Xavi can dominate in those games. We want to see him do it in the Premier League. That's where he needs to acclimatise, not against these Slavia Pragues and Copenhagens.
Agreed. And obviously we need him in those games anyway, but that's where we're not going to learn anything from those games.
Yeah, and neither is he. He's not going to learn anything in these games. That's the main point, because we need him to really step up in the Premier League. You know, without Maddison, without Kulusevski, he's supposed to be the guy. Mm-hmm. And 4 games now on the bench. It's ridiculous, to be honest.
I really hope he gets a start against Brentford. But I kind of feel like he does want to play him and Bergvall together. Even though the only time we did was against Newcastle and it went all right. Yeah. So I don't understand why we haven't seen it again.
I think like he needs to start playing Xavi and Bergvall together. Like Bergvall as well. It's not like he's a weak link in midfield and he can get easily bypassed. He's got bite in his challenge. You know, he can be a proper, really good box-to-box midfielder. Lucas Bergvall, in my opinion. So for me, we need to start 3 of them. Paulinho, I would start, you know, as the lone 6 with Bergvall and Xavi, or maybe even Paulinho and Bergvall on a double pivot and Xavi just straight up in the 10. But I think those 3 in midfield for me should start Brentford.
I agree, and I want to see us. Look, we all know what we want to see. Take the game to them, create chances, be dominant, and we'll see. We'll see what he does. And it's a game against his former club. It's a massive game for him, massive game for Thomas Frank. And if we win, all of a sudden you're building off the positives against St James's of the point, and all of a sudden you might start to see a direction and positivity. But another draw or a loss, and all of a sudden it's 3 wins in 15 now, and that draw at St James's goes into the negative pile rather than the positive pile. And it's how it goes, unfortunately, in football.
You know who else I'd like to see start against Brentford is Matisse Tell out on the left. I think he deserves a start, because like every time he comes on he seems to do decent. Obviously clawed us back in the game against Manchester United. I think that's the midfield I want to see. The front 3 I want to see is Tell on the left, Muani up top, and Kudus on the right. I think that could be a really good dynamic, to be honest.
100%. I think Tell, he scored that goal against United and we've barely seen him. He's got very little minutes since that game. And it was a nice cameo from him. So, yeah, I want to see him given another go. I want to see him getting a start. And on the left as well. We haven't seen him start in that position yet. But now Muani and Rishi are there. It's a chance. It's a chance. And I thought he looked bright when he came on yesterday.
Yeah. So look, a lot of things still to work on for Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur. Good point to take from St James's Park, but still a lot of the same issues that we have seen in recent weeks still there. So it's all about the next game. You know, it's all very well and good getting a point at Newcastle, having a couple of chances, but it's all about the next game, and it's all about how you kind of react and how Thomas Frank, how he sets us up, and what kind of dynamics we can see on the pitch and how we can break Brentford down. That's what it all comes down to. So, like you said before, if we go and lose to Brentford or draw against Brentford, then this point at Newcastle means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and we don't want to fall into the same trap we did against PSG, where we're all praising performance, saying, "Oh, great, we scored 3 goals and we look good," and then we go away at home to Fulham in the next game and looked absolute tripe. So I think we've got to be very careful when overpraising this team right now. We've got to be skeptical, because that's what they've shown us, that we can't trust them yet to build on something, and that's reality. But I don't know if it buys him any time, this result, but I guess it is a good result, and it's probably something he did need to get a point out of it. If we would have lost, I think the pressure would have just been mounting. So the fact that we did get a point, I guess he can take the positives out of it. But him saying, who's very happy with the performance, I don't know. I don't know if he should be, to be honest. I know I guess he said mentality and all this stuff, and it was a good point against Newcastle. So I think he probably would have taken a point before the game. So I understand that, but I don't know. I'm still watching it, and it's hard to watch.
It's true, but still, the performance that we did put in, I'm not saying it was great, but it was still better than we all expected.
Yeah, but if that's forget if it's Newcastle away.
You can't forget it's Newcastle away, because it was Newcastle away.
I'm just looking at that on a base performance. Was it a good performance? Should we be happy with that level of performance?
As Newcastle aways go, and you're playing a very hard team away from home, then it was okay. It wasn't
okay. Yeah, but he said he's very happy.
Yeah, I think maybe very happy in the context of we've just been absolutely battered in every game leading up to this, and we've held our own to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we went to the Etihad, right, and we won.
Yeah,
and
it seems like a long time ago now.
I understand that, but that's a level of performance you should be very happy with.
Yeah.
This performance, should we really be very happy with that?
Look, obviously, I think it all comes down to the trajectory of the team, of the way the team's going, and we've just been on a downward spiral for weeks and weeks and weeks now, getting battered, conceding so many chances, not creating absolutely, jack shit basically in any game. And this was better than what we've seen. So, look, maybe very happy is a bit of an overstatement. And
what did we actually create in this game? We created a back heel from Bergvall. Yes, Romero scored when he went up front, and he scored an overhead kick. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, what chances did we actually have?
We didn't create too much, but in terms of XG, our XG to Newcastle's XG, non-penalty XG, is actually not too different.
Okay, I mean, that's fine, but I think those stats you got to take in context. But yeah, look, it was a closer game. Obviously, Newcastle, by the way, are below us. It's not like they are the level of Chelsea or Arsenal. Let's be honest.
Yeah, correct. But no matter what form they're in, you're in a game when you're going to St James's Park, and even with the bad form that they've shown this season, that's all pretty much been away from home. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
At home, they've kept up their standards, and they've been pretty good at home this season. So no matter what form they're in, going to St James's Park is always going to be an incredibly tough game, and one of your toughest games of the season.
I understand that, but I'm not saying that we should be creating more chances than them. I understand we're probably going to create less, but we're still not creating much. I can't really sit here and say it was a massive improvement when we didn't still create much. We created a couple of moments, but...
Yeah, a couple of moments, and we got the draw, and you take it and you move on. I don't think you're not going to be judged on Newcastle away, are you? You're going to be judged on the next game. So, look, like I said before, I don't think it was an incredible performance. I don't even think it was decent. It was nothing more than that, and it was a step forward than what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, and I was quite content with it at the end of the game.
Content is a fair word. It worries me that he's saying he's very happy with it. I'm like, should you be very happy? We weren't great. We're still so bad on the ball, and you still pretty much have one plan, which is to get the ball to Kudus and hope.
Yeah, I just think he's very happy because we've gone to a very tough away ground and we've taken away a point. I just think that's why he's saying he's very happy.
I don't know. Yeah, fine. That's fine, but he's saying he's very happy with the performance. Again, we had this conversation about taking his word for it. I remember, when was it? It was after Monaco. We conceded loads of shots, and he said, "Oh, you know what? I don't mind that we did it today because we're not doing it so often." And then I was like, "Well, we are." And then it happened loads and loads after.
Yeah.
So now he's saying, "I'm very happy with this performance." So is he saying, "Is this us on a good day?" Is that what we've come to expect from us on a good day?
Well, in the context of the last month or so, then yeah, that was us on a good day.
So that's worrying.
Yeah, of course it's worrying. Look, we've been worried for weeks now. You've been worried for even longer than that with Thomas Frank at the helm. But like I said, a small step in the right direction yesterday. We've taken a point at a very hard away ground, and it's all on the next game. And if we fall flat on our faces again, like we've done pretty much every home game apart from the first home game of the season against Burnley, then that performance and that result means absolutely nothing, and it's a continuation of a worrying sign. But if we go and put in a decent performance and we win the game and we create chances and we're the dominant team and we're looking good, then you can say that Newcastle game could have been a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. If Romero doesn't shin an overhead kick and bobbles it into the net, is it still a step in the right direction? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if the penalty doesn't get given like it shouldn't have done, then that as well. So there's always give and take with everything.
Fair.
So the thing that gets me the most about the game yesterday was the bloody goals from the edge of the area. Another one yesterday from Bruno Guimaraes. Look, these goals are unbelievable quality. Like Eze's putting them in, Vitinha, like Bruno, like unbelievable quality to put them in. But we're allowing these players just way too much space on the edge of our box, and it just makes no sense. Like if it happens against Arsenal, you can all right, fine, it's one game. Happens again against PSG, you're like, what's going on?
It happened 3 times against Arsenal and twice against PSG.
Yeah.
So it's happening multiple times a game.
Yeah. But it's just like he needs to look at that and rectify it, not just leave it as it is and being like, yeah, just continue to let teams have these so-called high XG or low XG chances, you know? It's like you've got to get your midfield players to be more aggressive and shut down players on the edge of the box. You can't let these players with such high quality have these chances because they're going to put them in the back of the net like we keep seeing.
See, I think that's part of his game plan, to be honest. So I don't think that's going away.
But his game plan's got to stop if this keeps happening a regular occurrence. Surely he's got to look at that and being like, all right, if the game plan is to not care about these low XG chances, well, surely moving forward he's got to care about them because they keep going. Model. But they keep going in the back of the net. Like if we keep conceding goals.
But I think his philosophy would be, or his opinion would be, that the opposition's luck is going to run out. We're not going to be conceding goals from that kind of range every single week.
But we are.
We are at the moment. But I think he would argue over a season, it would even, yes, we're going through a period where every game it's happening, but if you even it out over a season, then it probably works for you more than it works against you. That's probably what he would argue. I would assume if you're talking to Thomas Frank now, I think that's probably what he would say. I think, for me, it's an overly cautious approach because he's basically getting all the midfielders into the box instead of anyone kind of forcing the issue and anyone coming out to the player and putting pressure on him. Bruno, I was watching the goal back. There was no one within 5 yards of him. He was completely free to pick his spot. And yes, it's a first time finish and it's a good finish, but he was under no pressure. And a player of his quality can do that. So I would like to see us commit a few players to try and put some pressure so that they don't have such basically no pressure on the shot. So they have kind of a bit of time to place their effort. But I don't know if we will. I don't know if that is going to change because I think that's kind of part of Frank's game model is overload both boxes. Make sure you got loads of players in your box when you're swinging crosses in. You've got players to put it in, and make sure you're overloading our box. So first you're blocking out crosses, and you're restricting opposition to just shots outside the box. But I don't know. I feel like we could be doing more with that approach, to be honest.
Yeah, much more, and that's something he's got to seriously sit down, analyse, and look at because it's just not working at this moment in time. But anyway, that is our match review of the 2-2 draw at Newcastle yesterday. Let us know your thoughts of the game in the comments section below. We've got a couple of super chats, which we'll get into in just a second. Let me just get them up. So Soft says, what's with the moaning about shots? Go look at our shots under Ange last season. Loads of games with less than 10 shots and under 5 on target. That's with 2 seasons in charge and 4 transfer windows.
I'll have to look at. Yes, I think we did in the height of our injury crisis when we had no players, and I don't think that was the case when we had our main players available, or we had players that we were able to rotate. I have to look at it. Maybe he's right. I think when we had our full team, I don't think we were having those many games.
You always say that. Maddison and Kulusevski was probably instrumental in that, though.
Yes, but when they were together, it was great, but they weren't fit together for that much.
But we still had one of them at least.
We still have one of them, yeah. That's fine. And we have Simmons now.
Yeah, do we?
Do we have him? He's just not using him.
Yeah.
It's not Simmons' fault.
Yeah. Nin Chow says, "Are you confident Kulu will do good with Frank?" Yeah, I think Frank would love Kulu. I think Kulu would make a big difference in this Spurs team, to be honest.
I think he'll be a proper Frank player for sure. Strong, technical.
Wins his duels.
Or has a lot of duels, actually. And that's also something we're missing. He used to do like 20 duels a game. I guess Kudus has taken that over, but I think we're definitely missing him for sure.
Well, in terms of duels, does he get that many, Kudus? As many as...
He does a lot, but he doesn't, maybe not as much as Decky. But
yeah, like yesterday, look, he wins a high percentage of them. He won 5 of his 9 duels yesterday.
Yeah, 9's a lot. But Decky was like 20 duels a game.
That's what I'm saying. It's like over double that. All right, let's move on to player ratings for the 2-2 draw against Newcastle. First up is Big Vic. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. Look, I don't think he had a chance with either of the goals. Obviously, one of them's a penalty. The other one is an unbelievable effort from Bruno Guimaraes, puts it right in the corner. I thought, actually, with Vicario, I thought he was really good handling the crossing situation yesterday. Very strong from that aspect. Made a couple of good saves in the game as well, albeit if those shots do go past him, you're thinking it's a really big error. But look, he handled himself well yesterday, Vicario, and it was great to hear and see the away fans sing his name throughout the game. Yeah, good support, much better than obviously no absolute screw-ups like it was against Fulham. Made some pretty decent saves as well. Obviously can't do much with the goals. I think they're just good finishes. But yeah, I think it was I don't think it was anything exceptional, but a pretty solid game. I would say about Vicario, though, like, he does not fill me with confidence when he's going up against a penalty. Like, he seems to dive the wrong way every time.
Yeah, true. He hasn't got close to any penalty, has he?
I don't remember
in the shootout against PSG, he was going the wrong way every time, wasn't he?
All right, next up, Pedro Porro. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 5. I just feel like Pedro's just on really bad form at this moment in time. His passing seems to be erratic. His crossing seems to be off it a little bit, albeit he did put in a couple of nice ones towards the end of the game. But I don't know what it is with Pedro Porro. Is it a culmination of all the games that he played in last season and he's just tired? I don't know, but he just seems to be completely off it. I thought, like, in the first 25 minutes, he was really poor, but it's a bit of a theme, like they grow into games as the games wear on. Yeah, and he obviously got beaten for the goal, didn't he? Gordon kind of burnt him down that side. I did think they were definitely getting more joy down that side with Barnes or Gordon than they were on the left-hand side defensively. Just tries these stupid things as well, like it's this back heel that he was just lucky that we didn't concede. Yeah, wasn't a great game from him. I don't really... also... He keeps his passing to Kudus. I don't know if this is an instruction, but he always just gives it to Kudus right to feet when he's got a player on behind him, like looking to challenge him. Like, we have to switch that up. I'm not saying not pass it to Kudus, but maybe pass it so Kudus can like run onto it or get a bit more space. Like, passing it always into feet to Kudus when he's got a player on his back and just getting him to hold up every time. I think it's just so predictable. But I feel like that's the instruction. But anyway. Yeah. Next up is Kevin Danso. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him an 8. I thought, he was a big reason actually why we kept the score down when Newcastle were really on top of us. I thought he was aerially dominant, particularly in a hard job as well against Voltmader, who's very strong in the air. So I think he did really well in that aspect. He was clearing his lines a lot, and I think he had a very strong performance. And when you look at his last couple of performances, has been really poor and he's got overrun a little bit, but I thought he kept it up to a very good level and back on form in this game. Yeah, pretty happy with Danso in this one. I thought he put in a really solid shift. Maybe 6 was a bit harsh, maybe 7. Maybe I should have given him a 7, but I actually thought he dealt with Voltmader quite well. Although there was, I think, one moment Joel Linton ran off him and hit the post, and obviously he could have done a bit better tracking Joel Linton at that point. But I think by and large... I think, especially a lot of clearances, always puts his head in the way of things, which is a good trait to have. So much better than in recent games. I still think on the ball,
he struggles. But yeah.
Cuti Romero, 9s all round for Cuti. Obviously, the man of the moment. 2 goals in the game. Our only 2 shots on target come from our centre back, and he puts them both in the back of the net. The first one with that absolute bullet header, wasn't it? Unbelievable. And the second one with an overhead kick that hits his shin and just bobbles into the far corner. So unbelievable from Romero. Real leadership ability to just single-handedly claw us back in the game. There are a couple of worrying signs from Romero defensively in the first 25 minutes, particularly, but there was another moment as well where Harvey Barnes just like burnt him alive, didn't he? And look, I felt like Romero a bit more than Porro, like he just kept growing into the game, and in the second half I think he put in a really big shift, but he needs to be on it from the first minute. That's the reality.
Yeah, I thought actually that he did have some shaky moments. Obviously, get booked in the first half. But Barnes, I was right at the beginning of the second half. He kind of burnt him and got into the box and created an opportunity. But I did think, by and large, actually, he was actually really good. And I was commenting on when we were commenting on the game, even before he scored that brace, I was telling you, I think he's really got into this game around, and I think he's playing really well at the moment. And I think even before the goals, where he really stepped up for us, I thought he really was becoming one of our more important players. And I thought Voltmaida had a very quiet game, because him and Danso were just dealing with him. And then obviously the Rover stuff, brilliant header. You got to say that is just a striker's header. Bullet. Diving header, getting in front of Dan Burn, just getting a run on him. Literally took that like a seasoned striker. Brilliant goal. And then the overhead kick, obviously a bit of luck, but he attempted it. He went for it, and it came off for us, and he ended up the game with a brace. So real captain's performance, I felt, from Cuti Romero. And also, look, you could see at the end of the game, got in a bit of a scrap with Bruno Guimaraes, always standing up for the team, and good words from him, I felt, after the game as well. So, yeah, happy with Romero. Yeah, bringing his international rivalry to the Premier League. Has he had previous with Bruno Guimaraes? I kind of vaguely remember it. I'm not sure. Yes. I saw a picture, but I think it was actually in a friendly between Tottenham and Newcastle earlier. In Australia? No, it was the one in Korea. Oh, in Korea. What, this summer? Yeah. Summer they had a bit of something. Yeah, so obviously Brazil versus Argentina flaring up on the northeast coast, but it was great to see a little bit of shithousery with the celebration and everything like that. So, and it all flared up at the end of the game as well with them too. But yeah, let's move on to Destiny Udogie. 4 from Sim, 5 from me. 2 poor performances in a row from Destiny, to be honest, and I felt like he's just getting really sloppy in his play. When he is kind of like burst up the pitch, no fault of his own, but he's just like completely on his own, no real players to link up with. And I always felt like the dynamic was a lot better when we've got Odebear on the left wing, because he kind of provides that kind of link up play and personnel there close to him to help him get up the pitch. But yeah, no real signs of quality from Destiny, unfortunately. I don't really know what's going on with him, but a poor display. Yeah, I think defensively, I wouldn't say it was great, but I thought obviously Murphy didn't really like get past him much or anything, although they did have that chance from Joe Linton down that side. But going forward, I don't know what's going on with him. We're really struggling to get him down to the byline like we were earlier in the season when he was first breaking into the team. I don't know if I feel like maybe we're struggling to hold on to the ball. When he's got Johnson there, who's basically not really good at holding the ball up and waiting for him, unlike Odebear, who's much better at keeping the ball and waiting for Udogie to get in position. Maybe that's something to think about. But there was a few occasions he gets on the ball, he's got no options and he's running into trouble. But I also feel there's a few occasions where he gets the ball and he's just blindly passing it to no one, like really carelessly. And that's got nothing to do with anyone else. So I think for sure there's something going on with him over the last few games. He's not having the best time of it. But I'm hoping it's more of a tactical thing than him. But yeah, he's not having a good time with it. Rodrigo Bentancur, Sim gives him a 3, I gave him a 4. Look, it was mostly bad from Bentancur, but there were a few good moments in there as well. I felt like he was just so weak, not being able... There was a couple of like nice progressive passes from him. There was a couple of defensive moments where he got, I think it was Romero, out of trouble a couple of times. But by and large, it was a really poor display from Bentancur. Just... sometimes not even being able to make like a 5-yard pass, which was really frustrating. But what was worrying me is just like physically sometimes. Like, it's weird because like sometimes physically he just looks completely off the pace.
and then like 5 minutes later, he'll win the ball back in a really nice moment and look physically up to it. So it's like, even within games, he looks so kind of up and down.
Yeah, the problem with watching Bentancur yesterday was the amount of times he got spun and he got turned, and it was worrying to watch. It happened about 4 times, and when you've got a number 6, that just can't be happening. Yeah, when you're playing in that position, you can't have a number 6 get spun that much. And it's a lot of the time was in like a one-on-one situation where he's squaring someone up. They just went to take him on, and he just couldn't keep up. And that is really concerning. I feel like he's at his best when he's like reading situations and he's intercepting and he's reading where the pass is going to go, where he actually doesn't need his physicality, where he just uses his brain. And that's where all of a sudden he can get a 1-up and he can read a pass, intercept, and get Tottenham on the front foot.
Did that a couple of times yesterday.
And he did that a couple of times, and he is good at that. But I feel like physically, I think yesterday was a real indication that maybe, I don't know if that physicality that he once had is ever coming back, and it's sad to think about or see. But it's I think watching him yesterday was hard.
Yeah. Pat Matisse Sarr, Sim gives him a 4, I gave him a 5. I'm getting so frustrated with Pape, to be honest, because it just seems as we've said this so many times on player ratings with Pape, or I've said it so many times, just like carbon copy displays where he just offers us nothing, like pretty much on the ball. Off the ball, you see him running around a bit and covering a lot of ground, but there's just nothing to report on his performances, and he just pretty much doesn't do anything.
He ghosted yesterday.
But how many times this season have we said that? Like, he started the season so well. Pre-season was unbelievable. All right, this is the year of the Pape. You saw that video from Maddison saying, I want to see 15 goals from you this season. And pretty much since then, he had that little niggle, little injury, missed a couple of games, and he's done nothing since then. Literally nothing.
And he was playing further forward earlier in the season, obviously, which I don't think anyone really believes is his best position. But whenever he's playing in double pivot, I don't know, he's not got involved in duels. He's not getting tackles in, and he's not getting on the ball. We're not seeing him pass the ball forward. He's just like, I don't know if he's hiding. I don't know if it's a mentality thing, but he just seems to be anonymous in all these games. You barely notice him, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pape needs to improve big time. And I'm surprised he stayed on the pitch as long as he did, to be honest. Next up is Lucas Bergvall, 6 from Sim, 7 from me. I thought he was a shining light in the midfield from us. The only player willing in that midfield to really drive us forward, cause Newcastle some problems. Had that back heel, which was not far away in the first half, which would have put us 1-0 up. And in the second half as well, he was doing the exactly same thing. When Spurs were on top, he was central to it. And that seems to be a theme that is going on at this moment in time. He's the only midfielder, apart from Archie Gray in bits, where he's able to actually have a bit of forward thinking. Because Bentancur don't have it, Sarr's not showing it, Palini doesn't show it. He's pretty much the only one that's consistently doing that.
Agreed. And he shows bravery. He's willing to take midfielders on. He's willing to burst into the space, and he's got a bit of quality when he does it. There was a great through ball to Brennan, which Brennan should have done a bit more with. He had that back heel, which he was so unlucky didn't go into the back of the net. He obviously had a couple of moments in the second half where he kept the ball in, surprisingly, and surprised his teammates. One of his teammates, A.K. Johnson, if he would have gambled, he could have had a tap in. So he must have been frustrated. There was obviously quite a bit of time where he actually wasn't involved in the game just because of the game state, and he was playing in the 10 position rather than deeper, so he was out of it for a bit. But when he was involved, he was definitely the brightest spark we had, and I was really happy with him again. Again, I don't think he's a 10, so I think he's still a bit uncomfortable in that position. But I think he did the best with what he had, to be honest.
Yeah. Thing is about Bergvall as well, he keeps trying these back heels. There was about 6 or 7 of them yesterday. I was like, not many of them come off, I'll tell you that. But at least he's trying something. That's the bottom line. But let's move on to the right wing and Mohamed Kudus. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. Again, he seems to be like our only real avenue of attack. We get the ball to him on the right and he's asked to take on 2 or 3 men. He's always kind of double marked, isn't he? And sometimes he can wriggle away, sometimes he can't. But there's no one to really, properly link up with. And, that's no fault of Mohamed, but that's just the reality and the tactics that we set up with. So I think he does well on the most part. He seems like in the forward line, he's the one with the most quality and the most creative player. Got a really good assist for Romero's goal. But yeah, I did think at times he was frustrating.
Yes, but I think by and large he was, again, probably our best avenue of attack. Obviously set up that chance for Bergvall for the back heel, set up Cuti Romero's goal as well. I think he had a really good battle with Lewis Hall, sometimes coming out on top, sometimes not. But I think by and large we asked so much of him, and I think on this occasion he looked a lot brighter than he has done in, well, I guess he did score against Fulham as well. Maybe he's starting to get some goal contributions back in his game, because I seem to abandon him a bit over the last few weeks. And I think the last 2 games he's been obviously blowing hot and cold, but I think he's starting to find a few moments of quality again, and that's really positive. So I was pretty happy with him.
Randall Kolo Muani, Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I thought Muani was really good, to be honest. He's a battler. He doesn't give up a moment's rest for the defenders. The defenders always have something to think about when Randall has been on the pitch the last couple of games. He gets himself in so many duels. He's contesting for every ball, showing quality as well with his how he can take on men as well. Didn't really get the opportunity to shoot much yesterday, but I felt like he was just tiring out a lot of the Newcastle defenders yesterday, and I didn't think he should have been taken off when he was, albeit it was like 10 minutes to go. But yeah, I've been really impressed with Randall, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Randall was another solid showing. Again, because of how we play, it was difficult for him to really get involved too much, and I think a lot of the time he was losing duels to the centre-backs. But I think when he did get moments to get on the ball and show a bit of quality and hold the ball up or get the ball to feet, I think he showed what he's about, and he was bringing other players into play, and they had a little run just before he went off as well, which was causing trouble, and he won some corners. So yeah, he did all right with what he had, but was not really a goal threat.
Brennan Johnson, last but not least, Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. Probably a 5 actually is a more fair reflection, to be honest. I felt like there was actually a willingness from Brennan Johnson in this game on a couple of occasions to actually take on your man and cause a problem. He was, a threat on 2 occasions on the transition as well. But yeah, that was mainly in the first half. I thought in the second half he kind of just petered out of it.
Yeah, I actually thought Brennan, to be fair to him, he had a couple of nice crosses on his left foot on this occasion, which is something that we haven't seen too much from him. So obviously he's played on the left, and obviously we're not massive fans of him in that position. But he did okay on occasion yesterday, looked a bit more dangerous. What I've noticed about Brendan was he's looking to take on his man a lot more yesterday than we've seen previously. Usually he doesn't have the confidence, and he doesn't think, I don't know, he just usually doesn't do it. But yesterday he was definitely doing it a lot more.
Do you think it's an element of he was kind of settled in the team before, he was scoring a lot of goals in the back post, but now, because he's not starting many games, that he's got a point to prove now?
Potentially. I think we know his position's definitely not as secure as it was, so now he's got to show a lot more. But I don't think so. 'Cause I don't think Brendan's game's ever really been taking people on. I think that's something he needs to develop a lot more. That's never been his biggest strength. So maybe he feels like he's not been good enough to do it. But we know he's fast enough to do it, and I think he definitely was doing it a lot more. Nearly set up a chance really early on, didn't he, for Kudus? Which we should have had a corner, which was another disgrace from the ref, how he didn't give that. But anyway, I think for me, in a big moment for Brendan, he was played through from Bergvall. He's got a chance on the right angle to get a shot on across the face of goal, and for some reason just doesn't pull the trigger and hesitates and instead decides to pass it off to someone else, and the chance goes. And for me, when you're in that position, especially with Brendan, whose bread and butter finishes across the face of goal, you've got to be taking the opportunity to shoot when it comes to you, because you're not going to be getting the opportunity more that often, and that was very frustrating. But I thought, a bit better than what we've seen.
Yeah, and look, the subs I felt weren't on for long enough. I think we made our first sub on like the 77th minute or something. But a couple of decent cameos. I think when I say a couple of decent cameos, I think each sub probably had like 1 or 2 moments, didn't they, when they came on. Richarlison battled, but he was on the floor more than not. But
Tell looked bright, and Xavi, didn't have too much of the ball, but he looked okay.
Yeah, but Thomas Frank, Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. Look, we were definitely the worst team on the day. That's got to be said. Newcastle deserved to take all 3 points, but we battled. he's got to bloody be thanking Cuti Romero a lot after this game because he got him out of trouble. But look, I thought we were better than what we have been the last couple of games. I questioned his starting lineup without Mickey van der Ven and Javi Simmons. And I questioned his subs, to be honest, as well, when he's taken off Bergvall, when he's going through a really good moment. He's taken off Randall as well, who just was working his socks off and was playing pretty well on the day. But at the end of the day, we take away a point from Newcastle, which not many managers have done over the last couple of years. Since Nuno, really. No manager has won at Newcastle for Tottenham Hotspur. No manager has drawn at Newcastle for Tottenham Hotspur either. So he's done that. I think, yeah, look, not much to say, just that it needs to be better.
Yeah, I just think it was more the same. I wasn't too impressed with what I saw. We did well to get the draw, fair enough, and we battled hard for it and came back twice from losing position. So fair play to the team. But in terms of how Frank has us set up and how he has us looking and how we are on the ball, maybe a bit better defensively, you can say, in this game, but on the ball, it was pretty much just as bad, to be honest. Not really too much to go on or in terms of improvement. Obviously, it was a bit better because we did score two. But in terms of general build-up and attacking, there's still so much to be desired. So, did well to get the draw, but still unimpressed.
All right, so that is our player ratings from the 2-2 draw at St James's Park. We are going to move on and see how the internet did react to the game yesterday. A lot of interesting stuff to get through. If you just refresh it. There we go. So this first one from Spurs Zone saying, brought to my attention from Spurs fan NL saying, should be 6 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, but very interesting this from the date Javi joined. So with Javi starting, it's been 9 games. Without, it's been 9 games. We haven't won a game without Javi starting. That surprises me.
Is that true?
And with Javi starting, we've won 6 out of 9. That's mad.
So we haven't won a game when Javi hasn't started. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Well, we beat. Oh, it was since he joined. 'Cause I was about to say we beat City, but Villarreal. But was Javi there? Did Javi start that game?
Javi came out before that game, didn't he?
No, he came out before the Bournemouth game.
Was it the Bournemouth game?
Let me see.
I don't know if they counting. Oh, it must be.
Where's Sofa?
Javi did start against Villarreal, didn't he?
Maybe he did. That's a mad stat, if that's true. So why the hell are we not starting him? What the hell? There's like no excuse. No, is that true? We haven't won a game when Xavi hasn't started. Leeds? Oh, he did start that game. We've seldom won sort of games. Oh, Everton he didn't start, did he? Or did he? No, oh, he did. Seems like this stat is true. HMRC approved. Doncaster he started. West Ham he started.
Did he start Villarreal?
Villarreal he started.
Yeah. That was his debut, wasn't it?
Yeah, and West Ham was his debut.
West Ham.
So yeah, that's pretty accurate, it seems to me.
That's madness. That's mad. Get him in the starting lineup, Frank. What are you doing?
Frank? What are you doing?
And
our record is good when he started. 6 wins, one draw, and 2 defeats.
Yeah.
18 goals scored. So he scored double
the
amount.
Who are the 9 games he started and who are the 9 games he didn't start? Like that's because obviously Arsenal, Chelsea he didn't start, but Chelsea he came on after like the first few minutes.
Yeah.
So he more or less did start that game. You know what I mean?
He didn't start. He didn't start. Fulham he didn't start. PSG he didn't start.
Newcastle obviously.
Newcastle he didn't. Monaco he didn't.
You're just reeling off all our worst performances this season.
Villa, did he start home to Villa? He did.
Yeah.
That was maybe a bit better though.
One of the 3 games. Get Javi in the starting lineup. That's what this tells me, man. It's madness that he hasn't started any of the last 4 games.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Anyway.
Get Javi in the team.
That's that. Next one is from Eurofoot saying, Cuti Romero, a quote from him saying, my overhead kick. Every day with Leo Messi in the national teams, I watch him. It is a beautiful goal. Big up, Cuti.
You think Messi was watching that thinking, I wish I could do that?
No, Messi's watching it saying, my guy.
My guy. My go.
Exactly.
Well, Messi says he's the best centre-back in the world.
I mean, every Argentine. I've seen even Enzo Fernandez talk about him in that light as well. Like every Argentinian just absolutely loves Cuti. Who Scored says, most goals scored from open play by Premier League sides this season. Tottenham sit third. 15 level with Brighton, just below Liverpool and Manchester City.
15, and we're also third for goals from corners with 6.
Yeah.
So, great stuff. But, yeah, look, I guess maybe we underestimate how many goals. But there must be all from transitional moments. I can't remember. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Yesterday we scored 1, didn't we? Kudus' goal.
Yeah.
Romero's first goal.
From the Kudus assist, yeah.
It just looks so bad from open play, though.
Yeah.
How we're third for goals scored.
Yeah. Well, that's the stat.
Fair enough.
Simon Yamene says, anyone who thinks it's just about a couple of attacking players missing don't want to see the issue. And this is the stat that they brought out on Sky Sports in the first half yesterday, when we had
horrible.
0 shots on target in the first half in the last 4 games.
Such horrible reading. God.
Ayush is bringing us up the penalty.
Yeah, you can see here, that's what people are saying. Burn has him in a headlock.
Yeah, like Burns all over him.
But he's because he's got his arm out like that. It's like, and he's not like got his arm around it. People are saying it's. Yeah, I guess the referee's thinking he's not really trying to put him in a headlock or something.
But Burn is like leaning into him. Like, if Burn leads into anyone, like obviously it's going to be a coming together and they're going to fall down together.
It's just 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. I don't know how they've decided to penalise Bentancur for that. I think it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. This next one. This is the Premier League happiness table. Spurs rooted to the bottom. Spurs are the most unhappiest fan base in the league, and I'd wonder how they measure this.
I think this is from the Athletics readers. I think it's an Athletic thing. It's from their readers. They've done a poll of happiness, a happiness rating, I guess. And I'm guessing we're bottom. We finished bottom, which is mad. We're more unhappy than Wolves fans. They've got 2 points this season, and Spurs fans are more unhappy with than Wolves fans.
Yeah, mad.
We're the unhappiest team in the league.
Yeah, I guess maybe Wolves a bit happier now because they've got a new manager. Maybe if this was done under the previous manager, maybe it would be different. But
do you think that's fair? Should we be the most unhappiest team in the league?
I wouldn't say.
I try and think who should be more unhappy than us. West Ham.
Well, Wolves.
Wolves for a start. Leeds and Burnley are new to the league. I think it's forgive them.
I think it's fair that we're. I don't know about it's fair at the bottom, but it's fair that we're near the bottom. Yeah, that's for sure.
So we're getting relegated from the happiness league. Going to the happiness championship.
When's the last time, apart from that short moment in Bilbao, that Spurs fans have been happy? First 10 games of Ange, but like I'm talking about from like a prolonged amount of time, probably Pochettino.
And 6 months of Conte, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're always probably going to be down this bottomless happiness table for a while.
Yeah. So SZY Comp says, good man Bentancur. So what's this trying to tell us? How easily he's bypassed?
No, just how he read a pass and then just gave it away. So sloppy.
And then got
5-yard pass. Look at Porro, he's like so angry. Like, look, good Bergvall does so well.
What is he doing?
What is he doing? So stupid.
No context. Tottenham. What's this? Mohamed Kudus.
This is Tottenham on in attack. It's like, okay, looks promising. Like, it looks like we're setting up to be on the attack, and then we just play it around, and it just somehow always ends back at Vicario.
I actually remember that. You were like saying, any minute now, Vicario.
Back at Vicario, any second now. Classic Spurs. This is Frank Ball, people are saying. That's Frank Ball.
Oh, God. Poseidon says that the main issue isn't that we look nothing like Ange's Spurs. The issue is we look nothing like Frank's Brentford. Which is true. Like, everyone's saying, look, he's making us into Brentford and we're Brentford this, we're Brentford that. But we don't look anything like Brentford, even in games that we're asked to be more transitional.
But do we want to look like Brentford?
It's not a question of do we want to look like Brentford. We just look nowhere close to even the levels that Brentford were showing.
I don't know. I kind of feel like he is turning us into Brentford. This is what Brentford are. They're going to be shit some games.
Brentford, yeah, fine. But Brentford were extremely good on the transition. We're not.
Yeah, that's true.
Their whole game. Like, their whole game relied on transitions and how good they were at it. Like, we've been really poor at it.
But I'm saying, I don't know, Poseidon saying the issue is we look nothing like Frank's Brentford. Like, I don't want to look like Frank's Brentford. That's not what we want. That's
yeah,
not
fine.
the end goal.
Maybe take away the point of that's the issue, but we don't look anything like Frank's Brentford.
Yeah, we
is
look
the
worse
point
than
I'm
that
trying to
at the
make.
moment. Yeah, we do look worse than that.
Lyle Thomas says, can see that lot being made of Spurs shooting stats at the moment, and it's important to understand what's happening. A simple look at the way Brentford played under Frank provides the answer. Last season, their shot stats were unremarkable on the face of it, but they were joint 5th most prolific team in the Premier League behind Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal and Newcastle. How? They had the best shots on target percentage, 40% in the league, and took shots from the closest distance on average and scored most headers. High quality shots, even if it means fewer of them, is the aim. This is shown by Tottenham Hotspur currently having the best conversion rate in the Premier League. It will take time for Frank to coach Spurs to be as prolific, or more so, might be pretty early on, but last night showed you don't need many shots to get a result.
I don't know. I don't know if this is the... I understand what he's saying, but I don't know if that's the best approach for Tottenham. For Tottenham, just to have fewer shots and hope that they're all good quality. Because there's going to be because you need... What the top clubs do is they have a game model to create as many chances as possible. It doesn't have to be the best chance. Yes, the more chances, the more you create, and the more chances, they're going to be better chances as well. So that's kind of how a lot of the top clubs operate. We're going to create as many chances as possible. We're going to shoot from distance. We're going to try and create the best chances, but we're not going to just not create any chances if it's not the best one. And I feel like Frank is so hyper focused on we has to be the best chance, it has to be the highest XG chance, it has to be from the closest to ever have a shot, that you're missing on goals you could get that aren't those best chances. But I think that's his whole game model, and I feel like it does work for a team like Brentford, because when you're managing a team like Brentford, you're not going to have the best players. So I understand it makes sense for him to say, okay, we're not gonna waste time, shooting from difficult angles or shooting from outside the box, because our players aren't that good. So whenever we get opportunities, let's just concentrate, hyper-focus on creating the best quality chance we can, because then our players are going to have the best chance of scoring. But when you're playing for a better club, you're managing a better club, and you've got better players and more quality, then you can get them to start taking more difficult chances and getting goals from there. You don't have to rely on it being the highest XG chance. I understand we don't have players like Son and Kane who absolutely obliterate their XG, but we've still got players who can outperform their XG. Like, we've got players who can do that. So you've got to trust them to do it, rather than just like saying, I don't trust you to score good goals, so you're going to have to score right in front of the goal every time.
Yeah, so from that aspect, that's what I believe that Frank should be showing more ambition and not treating us like a Brentford. Like, that's the aspect. So we've got these players like Kajavi that can shoot from distance and put it in the top corner. So we need to be utilising it more. Like, we're not using this kind of method doesn't get the best out of our players. That's the reality.
And it even goes to show, I think, in this tweet, it says Tottenham currently have the best conversion rate. Which I think shows, like, I understand it means we're not creating a lot of chances, but when we do, it's usually a good chance. But I think if we just create more chances, in my opinion, I think we could get a higher number of goals. Like, there's no need to restrict us to such a low amount just because we're looking for the best chance every time. Like, and especially with the players we have, are we going to be to this super, super clinical team? And also, when you are manager of Tottenham Hotspur, you're going to get teams who are going to focus on clogging out the box and making it difficult for you. Against Brentford, you can focus on getting the highest quality chance because there's all this space. So yes, when there's all that space, there's no point wasting chances not having a clear-cut opportunity. You might as well wait for the perfect chance. But when you're Tottenham, you're not always going to get that. You can't always wait for that. You need to take responsibility. And he's like telling them not to. And you can see it on the pitch. Yesterday, I think, perfect example was Brennan. Had a perfect chance. It was a difficult chance, but shot across the face of goal, in a good angle. But because it was a difficult angle, he hesitated. Whereas beforehand, he wouldn't. He just would have gone for goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Football Confidential says, after the second equaliser, Spurs captain Coutinho Romero signalled the real scoreline of 2-1 to the Newcastle fans to show his disdain for that ridiculous penalty awarded to the home side. And I loved that from Coutinho yesterday. It was
that
brilliant.
Feeling of injustice, but yeah, brilliant celebration from him. You see a lot of relief. There you go. Does the Bruno celebration as well.
And pointing to his name as well at the back of his shirt.
Love
My captain, Coutinho Romero.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Opta Analyst says Newcastle 2, Tottenham 2. Spurs end their 3-game losing streak in dramatic style. Christian Romero scored twice in the first time in a single game in one of Europe's top 5 leagues, including a late leveller. So these were the stats in the game yesterday.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can see still... They had 19 shots, Newcastle.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, I didn't realise it was that many. 7 on target as well. And you can see, if you go to the timeline, you can see, look, they're always pretty much in control of the game, to be honest. Yes, there was a big jump for the penalty, but still, even if you take the penalty out of it, they're still quite far away from us in the XG timeline.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's hard to argue we didn't deserve to lose, even though we got a draw.
I don't think anyone says we didn't deserve to lose yesterday.
I've heard some people say it.
I haven't. I think everyone accepts that, Newcastle were the better team, but we done well to claw ourselves back in the game. Coutinho Romero tweets this out yesterday saying, it's all about working hard, getting better and pushing forward, especially now when things aren't going our way. We stick together. Thanks for all the support as always, fans. See you at home on Saturday. And you better bloody win on Saturday, I'll tell you that.
I don't want to see any... Well, are we going to get a message from Porro? We're going to take this mentality into Saturday. No excuses. Going to get those messages?
Well, we haven't yet, so I doubt we're going to get it. After the last time...
I don't want to hear it. I just want to see it. Don't say anything. I don't want to hear any words from any... Okay, Romero can speak, but I don't want to hear any words from anyone else. Just show it on Saturday. Just put in a good performance. Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. Bloody, you're going to get, come 5:30, 6 o'clock on Saturday, apologies from half the team.
They got them pre-written already.
Literally, they've got them all in their drafts. Billy T says, scores an equaliser, then scores a bike, drops the captain celebration in front of the home fans in 96 minutes, gets in a heated argument with said captain, does first Sky interview in English, retweets a tweet slagging off the PGMOL, a quiet night for our captain, leader and legend.
Quiet in the night. It's just a normal day for Coutinho.
Spurs Web, this is another quote from Coutinho saying, the first goal was very important. In these last 3 or 4 games, the team weren't good enough. It has been a difficult time, but especially in this game, I love the mentality. And on his second goal, it's that Messi quote that we spoke about before. Yeah,
and that's good words from him to be, that he's backing up the team along the mentality. Hopefully, it goes to show that there's still some unity there, but we have to see it more on the pitch.
Spurs pictures that go hard. Coutinho Romero.
Archie Gray seems absolutely shocked. Love that. Look at Elanga in the background. Can't believe it.
Yeah. And I was saying, after I can't remember which game I was saying it after, but, even if you're not the better team and you show heart, fight, passion and desire, it's half the battle and you give yourself a chance of getting a result.
Agreed, but heart, fight and battle should be the bare minimum.
Of course. Of course it should, but it hasn't been. I mean, in a lot of games this season, we haven't shown that.
Yeah, which has been a disgrace.
Massive disgrace, yeah.
But I can't, yes, I'm happy that they showed it, but I can't, say, this is amazing they're showing heart, this. That should be the bare minimum, what I mean?
For sure. Henry Winter says, Bentancur versus Byrne, wrestling versus headlocking, both fouling, ref plays on, 2 problems with VAR intervention, 1, not a clear and obvious error, 2, no consistency, happens regularly, decision may go Bentancur's way next time with different officials. 100% spot on that.
That's the thing, yeah. Corner to corner, it's going to go different ways. I think it's ridiculous they decided to get involved there. Just ridiculous.
Spurs pictures that go hard. Look at that.
Brilliant. Right off the shin, you can see it.
Yeah, exactly. There's nowhere near his boot.
I think if he gets good connection, probably doesn't go in.
Yeah, probably.
So
It probably goes over the bar, doesn't it? Spurs Express saying Romero appeared to mimic Bruno Guimaraes' celebration after each of his goals. Newcastle midfielder rattled by this, wanted to confront Romero after the full-time whistle, but was held back by teammates and Spurs players. Romero, I mean, Bruno Guimaraes was proper rattled by it.
And he was on the yellow. But even so, Romero to score equalising, gets sent off, getting in exchange with Bruno.
But Romero actually didn't do anything. It was Bruno going up to him.
Yeah, wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
But I remember, who was it? Morpie got an exchange with Maddison after he did his celebration, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Johnny Blaine, this screenshot, saying, "Where's the men in midfield, man?"
That's the thing. You got Sarr and Bentancur there, just so deep. I like what but no Bergvall. Well, I don't know where Bergvall is, but there's a problem here. There's such a huge space. We're on the ball. Like we're not interested in that area progressing through the middle. That's like a big problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know, we do have players at our disposal that can make a difference in those areas of the pitch. Obviously, Javi being one, Bergvall being one, Archie Gray being one.
Well, we've seen it with just how we've played this season. It's clearly his plan.
It is his plan. It is his plan, and you know, the plan needs to change. It really does, because we can't persist like this, surely.
Just always focusing out wide, and because there's nothing on the left, we're always focusing on getting it to Kudus.
But I don't ever remember Brentford's team being like that, like his plan being like, because like Damsgaard was always so influential in the central areas of the pitch.
He was, but what Damsgaard was amazing at, what basically his role was him getting the ball like in the round like just outside the D in the opposition half, getting it, turning and playing a through ball to Mbeumo or Wissa. But because at Tottenham, because at Brentford, when you're playing Brentford, he always had a high line to play through. So you turn and there's all that space and he was great, Damsgaard, because he was very accurate with his passing, very quick thinking. So you turn, play a through ball very quickly, and he was brilliant at it. But at Tottenham, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get all this space to play in. You're not going to get all these defenders.
But you do in
really
certain
high.
games, and still, like, we're not seeing anything of that ilk.
Yeah, but when we've been in those certain games, we haven't played Javi. We haven't played players who are capable of it.
Spurs Watch saying Spurs players come off together at half-time after a little huddle.
So this is it's now we're going to have to get used to this huddle at half-time. And it seems as though the captain leads the players off. So Van der Ven led it on Saturday.
I thought Bergvall led it on Saturday.
No, he led the way. No, Bergvall was leading the talking, but I'm saying they waited for Van der Ven to come over, and then he led the walk. And it looks like Romero's leading the walk this time.
Are they doing this huddle outside the away end still? That's what Sonny introduced to the team, didn't he?
Yeah, they.
I don't know if they do that anymore.
They do a huddle, but they don't go to the away end at the moment. I don't know if they're worried they're going to get abuse or not, but.
They're not going to get abuse from away ends. It's only at home they're getting it. That's the issue. All right, well, that is it. That is how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And I believe... there's one more super chat, and then that's it from us. It's again from Sof5930 saying, Son, Maddison, Solanke, Kulu played in games we had just under 10 shots. Typical fans not doing any research, just assuming we had lots of shots and were just unlucky. Frank doesn't have any of them.
Well, when you said that, I'm looking here last season at games that we had under 10 shots in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's 9 games. Mm-hmm. 2 of them there. Brighton last game of the season. Villa was just before a semi-final, or just after one. West Ham was near the end of the season. Palace end of the season. Liverpool away was end of the season. One of them was Fulham, fair enough, bad game. Liverpool, that was a high of our injury crisis. Chelsea away, that was, I think that was actually one of the rare ones near the end of the season. We did have Romero and Van der Ven, but that was one game. And it was also only their first game back, I think, from injury in that game. And then one of them ones was Man City winning 4-0. So they're all pretty much either in the height of our injury crisis or right in that Europa League run where we just didn't care about the league essentially. So that's when it was. So if are you comparing that to what we're seeing? Is that like? So is this?
You're calling out soft?
I'm just saying. I'm doing the research. That's what I'm seeing. So what my point is, the team right now. Is the team right now comparable to a team that just is in the mode where it doesn't care about the league?
You got the stat for how many shots on target in the first half?
I don't know that.
You had 0 shots on target.
Exactly, I doubt that happened. My point being, I'm not saying, last season was just we had loads of shots, were unlucky, but in terms of a team that had less than 10 shots, it was only really the team that didn't care about the league that did that, essentially. That's what the stats say. So essentially, we're just as good going forward as a team that didn't give a shit about the league, and it was the second team.
Yeah.
The second team that didn't give a shit about the league. That's what we're playing like at the moment, going forward. Yeah. So, is that what we're saying? It's fine.
All right. Well, there you have it, people. We'll see you all tomorrow. No game to preview tomorrow. It seems like it's been so thick and fast, but
get a panel maybe.
Yeah, we'll get a panel show going on. I know Danny Kiriakou is gagging to get on the panel show. And we'll see you tomorrow, people. But thank you everyone for joining us. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.